Hello, 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 and good day, adventurers. Today in the shop we have something very special, something very dear to me. It is my own custom class called the Soulsmith. The Soulsmith is a custom class I made towards the end of, well, I say end, not really end, but towards the later years of my GMing career, where I wanted to make a class like a fighter that specialized in using one weapon and being able to have some of the AoE power abilities of a caster. It is, in a way, arguably a very powerful, very elite class in the ways that it is kind of like a mixture between a wizard, a cleric, and a fighter, all wrapped up in one. So some of you might think to yourself when we're going through this, hey, this seems stupidly overpowered. And I do apologize if it seems that way, but I haven't got a lot of playtesting with this class. Mostly because when my players wanted to play in my games, they really had ideas for characters they already wanted to do, and so no one was really up for testing out this class. So I haven't really got much testing of this class, and I'd love to hear more people try it out. So I think it's worth it. I think I did a good job at balancing it. It is very powerful, it is very strong, but I think I put enough limitations on it that makes it unique. So well, like I said, let's get into it and you decide for yourself whether or not you think this is too overpowered or if you think that this might be just balanced enough to give it a shot. And I'd love for you guys to give it a shot because I would love to hear people's experiences with this class because I made it and I never got to see it played, and I would love to see what people can do with it. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Let's make big me disappear, little me appear, and let's bring up the document. And here we have the Soulsmith. So I tried to make this as close to what you would get with a normal class description and class that you would find in a book. So we start off with the description. To some, the soul is stronger than any metal, so why not forge weapons from it? To draw power from one's soul is no easy task, and to these few they have trained to strengthen and use their souls as materials to forge them into weapons unlike any have seen before. They can create weapons in the heat of battle as to meet their needs, whether it be forging a weapon of silver to face down a werewolf or cold iron to remove a pesky fairy. They can do so with ease. While some choose to use their skills on the road and only create blades they need when they need them, some choose to use their skills to forge powerful weapons for others and are capable of even forging weapons, average weapons at a faster than normal rate, due to their masterful craft. As their abilities grow and their craft improves, they learn to unleash their souls in forms of powerful offensive abilities such as slaying a crowd of beasts in a single swing, or use their weapon or felling a strong beast with a single blow. Soulsmiths are strong and powerful members for any party, but such a gift comes at a cost all must pay. Role: Soulsmiths are powerful warriors on the field of battle. They are masters at crafting their single weapon of choice and can even forge these weapons in advance or on the spot. They are also perfect frontline fighters versus any enemy, and during their downtime can craft weapons whether for gold or to fund their adventures, or just forge powerful weapons for their use and the use of their party in the coming battles. Any alignment is allowed. There's a lot of discipline with this character, but I'd say that I don't see any alignment being more restricted to it than the others. Its hit die is a D8, so it's not completely overpowered. So it's not a fighter's hit die, it's not a barbarian's hit die, it's more of a cleric's hit die. Class skills are acrobatics, praise, climb, craft, knowledge arcana, knowledge engineering, perception, profession, spellcraft, and swim. Now, the reason for spellcraft and knowledge arcana is because magic is where their powers are coming from. Knowledge of the arcane is where they are essentially using to bend their souls into materials to forge their weapons. And just as a little flavor to the character, I didn't put it in the stats because I thought that this could probably be possibly troublesome. But it should be noted that the character, when they're forging weapons from their soul, that they're shortening their lifespan. I didn't want to actually shorten lifespans in a game because games can go on forever, and I didn't want to try and figure out how many minutes or hours are removed from your life. And I don't want to remove days, because then you have to keep track of how many days, how many hours, how many minutes. And I don't want to remove complete and total years, because I want the character to be able to actually get in a fight every once in a while. And so I think it would be a little too drastic if the character had to worry about dying at the age of 20 just because they decided to go into all the fights that there was in the campaign. So I didn't put an actual statistical restriction on this, but I feel like flavor and roleplay wise, it should be noted that the character is sacrificing their soul to their lifespan to actually forge these weapons. Class features. All of the following are class features of the Soulsmith. Weapon and armor proficiency. A Soulsmith is proficient with all simple weapons and a single weapon of their choice that must be partially created with some form of metal, such as a longsword, axe, or a warhammer, but cannot be any ranged weapons such as a bow, crossbow, or firearms. This weapon must also have some form of haft or hilt, and so it cannot be anything such as a quarterstaff or nunchucks. Soulsmiths are also proficient with light armor. And then here we have the table. Now the table is not going to make a whole lot of sense because we don't know what all these abilities are, but we're going to go over it and then we're going to go into more detail with the abilities down below. As you can see, like a fighter, the base attack bonus starts at 1 and goes up by 1 every level until it ends at 20, because I wanted it to be as strong as a fighter, because this character is all about using a weapon, specializing with that weapon, and doing as much as they can with that weapon. The saves are like a monk, if I remember right. It starts off at 2 and they go up every two levels, 3, 4, and all the way up to 12. Now, this is pretty powerful. This is a powerful combination. A lot of people might think this might be a little overpowered, but I decided that the character ends up going under as much discipline as a monk, that they should have the same saves as a monk, because they're having to endure a lot. They're having to train, and they're having to train their bodies, they're having to train their minds to be able to sacrifice their soul to create more weapons. That I thought that it fit. And then here we go. At level 1, you gain the abilities Bound Hilt / Haft, Soul Forged, Weapon Focus, Feat, and Skilled Crafter +1. At second level, you gain Soul Pool and Empowered Soul +1. Third level is Infused Soul. Fourth level is Soul Power and Weapon Specialization. Fifth level is Skilled Crafter +2 and Material Master. Sixth level is Empowered Soul +2. Seventh level is Infused Soul and Greater Weapon Focus. Eighth level is Soul Power. Ninth level is Skilled Crafter +3 and Devoted Crafter. 10th level is Empowered Soul +3 and Greater Weapon Specialization. 11th level is Infused Soul. 12th level is Soul Power. 13th level is Skilled Crafter +4 and Penetrating Strike. 14th level is Empowered Soul +4. 15th level is Infused Soul again. And 16th level is Soul Power Greater Penetrating Strike. 17th level is Skilled Crafter +5 and Forge Master. 18th level is Empowered Soul +5. 19th level is Infused Soul. And 20th level is a Soul Power again. Now let's go into more detail about these abilities. Starting with Bound Hilt / Haft. This is going to be very similar to a cleric. When a soulsmith first starts his training, he must choose a single weapon to devote his life to master the art of crafting. A soulsmith has a bound hilt or haft based on his chosen weapon, forged using part of his soul. If ever lost or destroyed, the soulsmith can perform a ritual called the soul forging for 8 uninterrupted hours to create another. The soulsmith needs his bound hilt / haft to forge, mount, and bind weapons that he can craft to the hilt or haft. A soulsmith's hilt or haft is forged of basic steel protected by its owner's soul, making it stronger than a normal hilt or haft, with an effective hardness of 8 with 20 hit points, but if ever recreated, you may use special materials to possibly improve its hardness or hit points. Soul Forged. Starting at level 1, the soulsmith can sacrifice a chunk of material and use his bound hilt / haft to summon a masterwork version of their weapon of choice made from the material sacrifice. This will take 1 full round action to perform. The material must at least cost the same as a piece of ammunition made of that material. The weapon lasts for a number of confirmed hits equal to 3 plus the character's intelligence modifier. This is called the break limit. After a weapon uses up its limit of hits reaching the break limit, it crumbles to an unusable dust. The speed at which the swordsmith can forge his weapon increases at levels 5, 10, 15, and 20, changing from full round to standard at level 5, standard to move at level 10, move to swift at level 15, and finally from swift to a free action at level 20. Then you get weapon focus. At level 1, a soulsmith starts with weapon focus for free, but only for the weapon they chose to be able to create with Soulforge. Skilled crafter. The soulsmith gains +1 to craft weapons skill to craft weapons, but only when crafting the same weapon as the chosen to be crafted with Soulforge. This bonus increases by 1 for every 4 levels after level 1, resulting in a +5 at level 17. Soul pool. Soulsmith gains a number of soul pool points equal to the soulsmith's level plus his intelligence modifier. This is where he's kind of like a wizard at the same time, is that we're going off of both strength, dex, con, and intelligence for this character. You may also burn a number of soul points to increase the break limit on your created weapon by the same amount of burned soul points. So you burn 5 soul points, you get 5 more hits with your weapon. After 8 uninterrupted hours of rest, the soulsmith's soul pool fully refreshes. Empowered Soul. At level 2, the soulsmith now summons his weapon with a +1 enhancement. This enhancement increases by 1 at levels 6, 10, 14, and finally 18, resulting in a +5. Infused Soul. You may burn a number of soul points to add the following abilities to your weapon when forging it. Level 3, any +1 enhancement. What I mean by that is any enhancement that's in the back of the core rulebook or in the equipment books, any enhancement that is a +1 enhancement, you can now apply by sacrificing 1 soul point. At level 7, any +2 enhancement at the cost of 2 points. Level 11, any 3 enhancement for 3 points. 15, any 4 enhancement for 4 points. And finally, at level 18, any +5 enhancement for 5 points. This allows you to tailor make your weapon to be exactly what you need it to be. Holy, unholy, vorpal, any of that stuff. You're able to essentially sacrifice soul points to craft the exact weapon you need when you need it. Soul power. Starting at 4th level, soulsmith may choose a soul power to master. Each soul power has a cost to be used. This is the number of soul points that must be sacrificed to use the power. Each power is unique and powerful. Soul Pierce. As a standard action, the soulsmith thrusts his weapon forward, sending out a beam of energy to pierce all enemies in a 60-foot line. Soul Pierce does 1d8 energy damage for every 2 levels of soulsmith you possess. You must choose one of the following energy types before using Soul Pierce: acid, electricity, fire, ice, or sonic. Reflex save DC 10 plus half level plus intelligence modifier. That's going to be the same for all of these. For all of these abilities, you're going to have to choose either acid, electricity, fire, ice, or sonic, and they're all going to be the exact same DC, 10 plus half level plus intelligence modifier. So Soul Pierce is a line. Soul Slice is a standard action. The soulsmith overhand swings his weapon down into the ground, unleashing a wave of energy in a semi-cone burst 30 feet long, centered on the soulsmith. The Soul Slice does 1d6 energy damage for every 2 levels of soulsmith you possess. Soul Crush is a standard action. The soulsmith can attack a single target for additional energy damage. It does 1d10 energy damage for every 2 levels of soulsmith you possess to 1 target. Soul Burst, as a standard action, the soulsmith strikes the ground, causing energy to erupt outward 15 feet all around him. Soul Burst does 1d12 energy damage for every 2 levels of soulsmith you possess. You must choose one of the energy types. And finally, Soul Mend. As a standard action, the soulsmith can heal his body by sacrificing his soul. Soul Mend heals 1d4 hit points for every 2 levels of soulsmith you possess. Now, one thing that I just realized that I forgot to put in here is how much it costs. And I will type it in, and I'll have it added up by the time you click on the document. But essentially, what it's going to cost is it's going to be based on the order you take the abilities in. It's going to be, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abilities, 5 powers that you can get. The powers are going to cost a number of points equal to the order in which you take them in. The first one you take is always going to cost 1 point. The second one you take is always going to cost 2 points. The third one you take is always going to cost 3 points. The fourth one you take is always going to cost 4 points. And the fifth one you take is always going to cost 5 points. So you got to choose them in a strategic order, meaning that you got to be careful, because if you end up liking one ability more than the other, like for some reason, whichever ability you think you're going to be using the most, are you going to be hitting people in a line? Are you going to be hitting people in a cone? Are you going to be hitting people around you? Or are you going to be healing yourself? Which one do you think is more important for you to be able to do with the least amount of cost? And so that's how it's going to work. I'll have it properly typed up by the time this is a document for you to click on in the description. I do apologize that I missed that. This is an old document that I worked on a long time ago, and I'm coming back to it. Next is weapon specialization. At 4th level, Soulsmith gains weapon specialization for free, but only with the weapon they chose to be able to create with Soul Forge. Next is Material Master. The Soulsmith can now Soul Forge and craft the same weapon of his choice to be able to Soul Forge with out of special materials when crafting for half the required amount of materials. Next is Greater Weapon Focus. At level 7, a Soulsmith gains Greater Weapon Focus for free, but only with the weapon they chose to be able to create with Soul Forge. Next is Devoted Crafter. You can now use the Craft Weapon skill to craft weapons of the same type chosen you Soul Forge with in half the required time. Next is Greater Weapon Specialization. At level 10, a Soulsmith gains Greater Weapon Specialization for free, but only with the weapon he chose to Soul Forge with. Penetrating Strike, he gets it for free, but only for the weapon that he, at level 13, he gets it for free, but only for the weapon that he chose to Soul Forge Strike. And Greater Penetrating Strike at level 16, but only for the weapon he chose to Soul Forge with. And finally, last but not least, is Forge Master. Once per day, as a free action, you may reset the break limit of a weapon for free by reforging the weapon. Now you can essentially get another use. You get 2 uses out of every weapon, out of any weapon you craft once per day. And that is the Soulsmith. The Soulsmith is a very powerful weapon-based character fighter that's capable of doing some AoE attacks like a cleric or a wizard, who needs to essentially rely on having a dedicated item, kind of like how a ranger could be having a ranger or a druid could have a familiar or a companion, or most likely how the cleric has his religious idol. You need this item in hand to be able to use his powers and abilities. So there's a great weakness to this character, is that item can be taken away and you have to get it back to be able to use your powers and abilities, making you effectively just a bland fighter without it. And not even a great one, because you only specialized in simple weapons and the one particular weapon that you used. And your character is relatively skilled at crafting, so you're useful. So if you want to craft weapons for your players or craft weapons to make money, you can do that, and you can end up doing it at really fast rates and crafting really powerful weapons with less materials. And so it's a really cool class. I really like the class. I think it's balanced. The abilities, the powers and abilities cost soul points. You only get so many soul points that refresh every time you sleep. And so I think that it is a really great, a really powerful ability, a really powerful class, and I think it should be used. So if you guys do use it, please come tell me in one of my streams, or tell me in the comments section of this video or any other video that you end up going on. Let me know that you used it, because I would love to hear how you guys used it, what you guys used it, what your experiences were with it, whether or not you liked it or felt you didn't like it. If you have ideas of how to improve this, or maybe something should work a different way, go ahead and let me know that as well. I would love to hear it. I might even make the changes. Who knows? I can't guarantee it, because I am a bit of a strong-headed person, but I would love to at least hear the other options, the other ideas that you guys have. I'd really love to hear them. Otherwise, I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Remember that the document is in the description below. Haha, I didn't say it wrong that time. I said it right. So if you're looking for just the Soulsmith document, you just want to be able to bookmark that and be able to come back to it whenever you need, go ahead, check the description below, get the link, and bookmark the link. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying everything, and I hope you guys have a safe adventure.